Hello, this is your customized news feed for October 1st, 2034. News Item 1, keyword, transportation.
Today marks the 25th anniversary of the Critical Commerce Corridors Transportation Network here in the United States. It's hard to believe, but in the year 2009, a federal plan to finance and build the critical commerce corridors that today seamlessly connects America's high-speed interstate highways with all major U.S. waterports, airports, and rail hubs was highly controversial. To see how far we've come, we take a look back.
We all knew something needed to be done. The interstate highway system wasn't planned for the needs of the 21st century. Parts of it were over 70 years old. It was turning into a system of bottlenecks, and we weren't even investing enough to maintain, much less improve it. But we were all afraid of raising highway user fees. We had turned the gasoline tax into a political wedge issue rather than the investment tool it was created to be.
In 2009, America's national highway network was well on its way to becoming dysfunctional. The U.S. was relying on a national road system largely drawn up by government officials almost 100 years ago. Motor vehicle crashes were killing more than 42,000 people on the nation's roads annually and were the leading cause of death and permanently disabling injuries for American children. The threat of greenhouse gases to our environment was just becoming understood, and ever-worsening traffic gridlock was then responsible for an estimated 25 million tons of preventable carbon dioxide emissions each year.
People in Capitol Hill began to realize that traffic gridlock was part of our energy, healthcare costs, and environmental problems. When I learned motor vehicle crashes were responsible for $230 billion a year in insurance, healthcare expenses, and lost productivity, I knew something had to be done. If we started making transportation investments more wisely, we could cut healthcare costs and make American businesses more competitive. The Critical Commerce Corridors program was the answer.
The competition for global economic supremacy was also red hot 25 years ago in 2009. Other nations were competing with America. China had a massive strategic transportation plan underway, building 53,000 miles of new interstates in just 20 years. India was upgrading 25,000 miles of expressways, and the European Union was busy adding nearly 10,000 miles of new highway and rail capacity.
China and India, of course, were moving out aggressively at that time to surpass the U.S. as the global economic superpower. China was investing almost 9% of its gross domestic product on infrastructure. The Chinese understood the link between efficient transportation and economic growth. So did India and the European Union. They saw our gridlock transportation network as a weakness to exploit. We were going to have to respond or drift into a second-class economy.
By comparison, the U.S. transportation infrastructure investment level was only about 2% of GDP, and the revenue stream to the Federal Highway Trust Fund could not support any increased investments. Recognizing these challenges at home and abroad, lawmakers in Washington knew they had to act. Congress and the White House put their heads together and came up with a bold and innovative new program for the nation's federal surface transportation programs.
The 2009 Federal Highway and Transit Bill with the Critical Commerce Corridors program was a tipping point. Charting a new mission and direction for the nation's surface transportation program made it part of the solution to major national challenges.
That highway bill wasn't business as usual. It created a new, more accountable structure for the federal highway program. The new program had two equally important components, each with a clearly defined mission. The first, increased investment to preserve and improve existing highway and transit systems. Years of wear and tear had taken a toll, particularly on the interstate. In a bipartisan agreement, Congress increased the federal gasoline tax 10 cents a gallon and indexed it to future inflation to protect the nation's road and transit systems and improve them. The birth of Critical Commerce Corridors, or 3C program for short, was found in the second component. It marked the first real integrated national strategy to facilitate the safe and efficient movement of freight in the U.S.
The 3C program revolutionized the way we shipped goods. It was a win-win for American businesses and consumers.
Financed and built with new freight-related federal user fees, the Critical Commerce Corridor program utilized the latest construction techniques and innovative technologies. The result? The state-of-the-art multimodal transportation network that we have today in 2034.
Separated truck lanes have made me feel a lot safer on the road than I did as a kid in my mom's small car.
The 3C created new capacity by utilizing existing interstate highway system right-of-way and incorporating tunnels and overpasses. It resulted in reduced truck and passenger vehicle trip times, lower transportation costs for American businesses, and it helped improve air quality. The number of severe motor vehicle crashes dropped, reducing overall U.S. healthcare costs.
The Critical Commerce Corridors program helped to preserve America's position as the global economic superpower. It renewed our commitment to the environment, and it revitalized the quality of life in communities all across America. It was well worth the political risk we thought we were taking.
The Critical Commerce Corridors changed America for the better.
My vote for the Critical Commerce Corridors program is one I'm most proud of. It made a real difference.